Stephen Sasson is an electrical engineer credited for the invention of the first digital camera. I know you've probably got an image in your head of today's popular digital cameras. However, Sasson's early invention was a little different. Stephen Sasson was born July 4th, 1950 in the Bay Ridge section of Brooklyn, New York. As a child, he designed and built his own radio receivers and stereo amplifiers in his basement from recycled electronic components from discarded televisions and radios. He attended the Brooklyn Technical High School, a specialized public high school in New York City where he focused on technical and scientific studies. Sasson obtained a bachelor's and master's degree in electrical engineering from Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute in Troy, New York. During his graduate studies at RPI, Sasson held his first job in the industry as a draftsman for a consulting engineer in Little Falls, New Jersey. Sasson joined the Eastman Kodak Company in 1973 as an electrical engineer working in an applied research laboratory in the apparatus division. Sasson's supervisor and chief technician, Gareth Lloyd, assigned him a very broad task, which was to design a device using solid-state electronics, solid-state imagers, and an electronic sensor known as a charge-coupled device that would gather optical information. Sasson began designing his prototype using scrap materials such as an analog-to-digital converter from Motorola components and a used Kodak motion picture lens.
And in college, I had done some work on optically controlled silicon devices, and so I was interested in how light affected silicon. So I jumped at the chance to do work with this new device called the charge-coupled device. So that's kind of how it started. And at the point when I looked at this, I looked at the device and I said, well, maybe if I was good to measure the imaging performance, I could try to build something that captured images. So maybe I could build a camera. And then from there, it escalated to, wouldn't it be really neat to build a camera with all electronic, no moving parts whatsoever? And then because my experience was largely digital, I decided to take a completely digital approach to it. It avoided a lot of mechanical complexity, which I was incapable of dealing with. So I just basically had a white piece of paper and started to sketch out what this thing would have to be like. And then with the help of two enormously talented technicians that were working in the labs, there was named Jim Schickler and Bob Dieger, were two fellows, really experienced fellows, and they and I basically cleaned out a back lab and started to build our circuits and put together our camera and do our experiments one after the other as we put together the camera, until finally the camera and the corresponding playback system was operational. And that was after about a year's worth of work, as I remember, and it was we took our first picture in December of 1975.
By the end of 1975, all the complications had been worked out. The device was capable of capturing black and white images in a resolution of 0.01 megapixels or 10,000 pixels. It then took 23 seconds to record the image to a digital cassette and another 23 seconds for the image to display on a television screen. In 1978, at the age of 27, Sasson received a U.S. patent for his prototype. The University of Rochester conferred an honorary doctorate degree on Sasson after his retirement in February of 2009. Throughout his retirement, he has continued to act as a mentor to many aspiring and up-and-coming engineers in the field. A word of wisdom from the founding father of digital photography.
If you're an experimenter and you're an inventor or anything like that, you really do spend most of your time failing. You really do. So you learn so much from that, You just have to sort of go forward with your ideas. And lots of times they may not work out. They may not work out right then, or they may work out if somebody else does something to it, You're part of a big community going forward. You're not really alone when you're inventing. But I would just say, don't be afraid of failure, and enjoy yourself and have fun.